Ladies and gentlemen, what we're witnessing is nothing short of the most brazen abuse of presidential power in American history. Joe Biden has just pardoned his son, Hunter, for crimes spanning from 2014 to 2024. But here's what they don't want you to understand. It's not just about Hunter, the timing, the scope, the sheer audacity of the pardon. It's a desperate attempt to shield the entire Biden crime family from what's coming. We've got exclusive details about how this pardon connects Ukraine and China and the deep state's worst fears about Trump to return to power. The evidence we're about to share will shake you to your core. Now, America, when everything around you seems to be crumbling, your institutions, your trust in government, even your faith in justice, there's one thing that never loses its value. I'm talking about gold. Just like Hunter Biden's pardon exposes the corruption of the system, the Federal Reserve's money printing has exposed the weakness of our dollar. But while Biden pardons away criminal accountability, you can pardon yourself from this financial corruption. Call Global Gold Investments, the number on the screen, 888-700-4148, and get your free 2024 Protect Your Wealth and Retirement Guide. Don't let your savings become another victim of the Biden regime. Call that number, 888-700-4148, or visit IRAGoldproof.com. It's linked down in the description, and we thank Global Gold for supporting this program. All right. So much has happened here. Hunter has now been pardoned. Remember this guy? Yeah. The disgraced former deputy U.S. attorney Andrew Weissman. Yeah, he wet his pants talking about how honorable Joe Biden is by not pardoning Hunter Biden on a previously aired MSNBC segment. Everyone's wondering now if Andy's pants are dry now. Let's listen to that moment. There's so much of this, too. I mean, all these people, oh, Joe's never going to do it. Joe's never going to do it. Listen, we all knew he was going to do it. Who do these people think they are? Are we stupid? We all knew it was going to happen. Come on, this guy.
President, what is before us is a president who is living the rule of law. He is living it in the in the most personal way. He is not pardoning his son, which he could do. These are federal charges. Right. He is not doing that. He is not doing it because he is living what it means to have a rule of law in this country.
Yeah.
And
Joe Biden is the living embodiment of the rule of law.
It isn't, I mean, if you want to know if he believes it, you could actually see what is happening with his own son. I mean, I'm not saying that he should get credit for it because it is the right thing to do.
That's the norm, but Trump is beneath it. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. It's that the idea that you can't see it, or is that really what's going on? Or when you can see what he is actually living by is his own son is being prosecuted, and he is allowing the norms that are required to live in a democracy to go forward. What is?
Oh, man, I can't believe it. This is just the opening salvo tonight, friends. Oh, yeah, we got this. This was busted out by, I think, Grabian News put this together. It's a supercut. It's literally like 10 minutes long. I don't think we can play the whole, or I can't play the whole thing because, I mean, it's just too much. It's a supercut. They say it's a work of art, and we'll have the leftists on MSNBC, CNN, NBC in total meltdown mode. Okay,
there's no
here
question
we go.
about
The presidential promise to put the law before family.
I said I abide by the jury decision. I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
Letting the world know that he will not wipe away the decision of 12 of his son's peers.
Was asked directly, and he has said he wouldn't pardon his son if he gets convicted.
Let's wait and see what happens if he loses.
Yeah, but he said it.
He's going to get pardoned by his dad. There's no question about that.
The president has ruled out pardoning his son.
Major commitment from the president, accepting the outcome of the trial and also pledging not to pardon his son.
So the challenge for him is really to continue to live up to his values when it was really personal, and he did that today.
It seems like a pretty normal, straightforward answer, but it takes new weight when we see what Trump is saying about the outcome of his trial, what we're hearing from other Republicans who say they don't accept the jury's verdict here in New York.
The contrast is profound. To sit there and say, well, I'm not going to intervene in the legal process, and I wouldn't pardon my son. One side, Democrats and Joe Biden protecting the justice system. And on the other, Republicans and Trump protecting Trump.
A current president of the United States has so much respect for the law that he has said he would not pardon his son. I mean, again, it's all about the contrast.
President Biden saying, I will respect whatever this jury decides, versus Donald Trump after he was convicted on 34 counts, saying the entire system is rigged against him.
Their latest attack has been that Joe Biden has politicized and weaponized the DOJ, right? That was the whole argument around Donald Trump's conviction. And this week, of course, Hunter Biden was found guilty, and Joe Biden has very clearly said he would not pardon his son, he would not commute his sentence. How stark is this difference? I mean, how can Republicans keep making this argument now that Joe Biden has really put it out there? Where
That's only 2 minutes worth, man. Oh my goodness. I mean, the left-wing media was just eating it up. No, Joe would never do such a thing. He is the living embodiment of the rule of law. Well, 4 hours ago, General Mike Flynn has weighed in. After listening to some of the news responses today from the corporate woke lying media and other former government crooks and conspirators regarding Hunter Biden's pardon, I'm in one of those moods where I want real Donald Trump to go scorched earth on minute 1 of day 1. He says, the left and many in the Rhino compound screwed America, and many of us, including yours, truly so bad they deserve nothing, nada, zilch. The country was nearly destroyed by these pricks, and they continue to spew their bullshit through their mouthpiece talking heads. Just stop. All you corporate liars and all your talking heads deserve our utter contempt. As for those serving inside government right now, it is time to confess your sins or forever hold your breath, because we the people are so sick and tired of the severe corruption inside our government, and we are no longer going to tolerate sheepish behavior. Get a pair. And lastly, for those members of Congress, House, and Senate who failed to confirm Trump's nominees, woe betide you. Like history teaches, you have awoken a sleeping giant in the guise of the American people, and we will not relent. We will not give up. We will prevail in this, a 21st century version of an American revolution, and we're just getting started. Oh yeah, General Flynn is on fire. Hunter Biden has got a full pardon. Oh yeah. Reporters, here is Joe Biden fleeing to Africa, and the reporters were there on the tarmac as he went up the short stairs, and this is what they asked him.
President, what is your mind on the pardon? President, what changed?
Bye-bye. Joe Biden off to Africa. Mr. President, what has changed your mind on the pardon? What has changed? Oh, come on. We all knew it was going to happen. Reporters press Biden on why he pardoned Hunter. He shuffles by, doesn't answer any questions. So another typical day for the corrupt old man. 3 hours ago, Joe Biden busted by his own staff, telling his aides he would lie to the public about his pardon plans for Hunter. The president has discussed pardoning his son with some of his closest aides, at least since Hunter's conviction in June, said two people with direct knowledge of the discussions of the matter. They said it was decided at the time he would publicly say he would not pardon his son, even though doing so remained on the table. If you're following me on X, you'd know my thoughts on this, because we all knew it was going to happen. All right? If it was my son, I would have done the same thing. And why lie? I mean, why lie to the American people? What do you gain from that? What, you shield yourself from a little bit of criticism from the press if they decide to go turn against you? I mean, who cares? Yeah, I'm gonna pardon my son. Just be out there. Don't lie to the American people, but that's what he did. And he just proved that he just proved his corruption. He proved it. He proved that he is willing to lie to the American people. He proved that his legacy means nothing. This is his legacy. Just one more brown stain on this president. Here we go. This is it. Administrator Biden will be the first president in American history to pardon himself. That's what Doug Billings is saying 12 hours ago. The radical liberal hierarchy is crafting a pardon that cleans up the loose ends of Hunter pardon that includes Joe's brother Jim. Now watch for it. Just watch for it. Watch the pardons, because all the pardons that are going to come out in these next few weeks are going to reveal the criminality of the backstory of Joe Biden. Anyone so if he pardons Hunter going back to 2014 all the way up to December 1st, I mean, how many crimes are we covering here? He bypassed the traditional pardon system and just issued a blanket pardon because he knows Trump's coming into the White House and that Kash Patel is going to lead the FBI. We've got Pam Bondi heading up the DOJ. So they would have the power to open up these investigative inquiries into Joe Biden and Hunter Biden. But because he has put forth this pardon, going back all the way to 2014, he's essentially just nipped all that in the bud. But what happens? Watch. Is he going to pardon his brother too next? Who else in the Biden crime family is going to get a pardon? Who else connected to any of the crimes of Hunter Biden are going to get a pardon? And just by reverse engineering the pardons will be indications of guilt for those parties that we have been talking about for the last 4 years. Truth Patriot, Biden's swamp creature pardon party. Joe Biden just committed a miscarriage of justice with Hunter's pardon. Now the real question is, what swamp creatures are next on his list? Will we see a parade of pardons before he leaves office? Okay, so Truth Patriot presents 10 individuals that he believes. Dr. Anthony Fauci, for saving lives with the most politically correct science money can buy. Joe Biden himself, because if there's anyone who knows how to manipulate the system, it's Joe. Can you imagine if Joe Biden pardoned himself? That would be crazy. James Comey, for his stellar performance in running the FBI and his sudden memory lapses. Andrew McCabe, because loyalty to the establishment deserves a reward, right? John Brennan, oh man. Can you imagine if he gave John Brennan a pardon? See, all these people, if they receive a pardon, that means they're guilty of something. John Brennan is certainly guilty. Hillary Clinton, her emails, right? Time to give those servers a presidential pass. Barack Obama, staying in D.C. Why? To pull strings in a shadow government, of course. Look up the names. Barack Obama. Did Jesus warn us of this guy? Loretta Lynch, that tarmac meeting with Bill Clinton was just a coincidence after all. Alejandro Mayorkas, to forgive his oversights at the border. A true humanitarian crisis. Kamala Harris, because who cares about prosecutorial misconduct when you're a VP? What's your take? Will Biden go full clemency crazy? Who else should be on this list? Let the debate rage. That's quite a list right there. That's a good top 10 list. And of course, anyone who makes that list is clearly guilty of some kind of a crime. Who else we got here? Okay, here's Harris Faulkner. She's weighing in on the topic. Oh, did we lose connection here? Let's try again. Here we go.
Pardoned your convict kid, and your last name is Biden. President Biden is about to land on the African continent in Angola. Still won't be far enough away to escape from the lies he's been telling the American people. I'm Harris Faulkner. You are in the Faulkner Focus. Biden's presidential pardon not only wipes away his son Hunter's convictions on tax and gun charges, it's also an unprecedented fashion because it covers any offenses from the last decade. Wait, wow. Things that haven't even been adjudicated yet? Yeah. So is there something to hide on the heels of incoming President Trump's assembling leadership at the FBI? It's a question. And this part. Hunter Biden gets a pardon just weeks before being given potentially lengthy prison sentences for his crimes. In a statement, Biden explained, and here it is, quote, "I said I would not interfere with the Justice Department's decision-making, and I kept my word, even as I have watched my son being selectively and unfairly prosecuted. No reasonable person who looks at the facts of Hunter's cases can reach any other conclusion than Hunter was singled out only because he is my son, and that is wrong." End of quote. Well, you know there's video to refute all of that lie. Here's what Biden really said.
I'm extremely proud of my son, Hunter. He has overcome an addiction. He's one of the brightest, most decent men I know. And I am satisfied that I'm not going to do anything. I said I abide by the jury decision, and I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
Your son Hunter is on trial, and I know that you cannot speak about an ongoing federal prosecution. But let me ask you, will you accept the jury's outcome, their verdict, no matter what it is?
Yes.
And have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes.
Clearly, that wasn't true. Either was this part. No one is above the law. His ex had. In fact, you know what? People in the White House, staff members, everybody was saying, no one is above the law, over and over.
This nation was founded on the principle there are no kings in America. Each of us is equal before the law. No one is above the law. Each of us is equal before the law. The American principle that no one is above the law was reaffirmed. In my administration, no one is above the law.
No one is above the law, right? Unless your last name happens to be Biden. Cernovich posting that pardon goes back to 2014 is revealing and damning. Joe Biden could have commuted the sentence of Hunter Biden. The commutation is less than a full pardon. It maintains the conviction, but spares Hunter prison. That would have been the way to maintain respect for norms. While playing this sentimentality card, I'm sure the Bidens were advised to do this. The full pardon goes back to 2014. The statute of limitations for tax fraud is 6 years, and for most other federal charges like money laundering is 5. More serious crimes like murder and other charges have no statute of limitations. You see that? Read that on the screen there. What does that tell you? No statute of limitations for what kind of charges? Read it. Read it out loud. Hence, the pardon should have ended with conduct committed in 2018, the longer of the two, 6 years for tax fraud. Having the pardon cover all behavior, charges and charged and uncharged from 2014 is the most significant fact of all. This is proof that Hunter Biden committed far more serious crimes than what he was charged for, or else there would have been no reason to had the blanket pardon look back 11 years. Another quirk to consider, the 5-year statute of limitations doesn't begin running until the last overt act. For example, if Hunter and Joe conspired with Ukrainian oligarchs to launder money, and this conspiracy occurred from 2014 to 21, prosecutors could argue that James, Joe's brother, and Hunter could be prosecuted for conduct occurring as far back as 2014. Hence, the pardon was not about Hunter Biden or Joe's love for his son. This is a way to close any loose ends and allow the Biden crime family to retire in luxury. You see? You see what this means? Yeah, you gotta go back. You gotta dig deep. Here's what I wrote on X. I don't blame him. I do it for my son, but the fact he wasn't honest to begin with is the problem. Just tell everyone you're gonna do what you're gonna. We all know what you're gonna do. But I'm thankful that he's reinforced that he's still a lying, corrupt piece of garbage. Joe Biden officially pardoning his son after Biden and the White House lied countless times.
Briefing. I know you said, second one, will the president pardon or commute his son if he's convicted?
So I've answered this question before. It was asked of me not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago, and I was very clear, and I said no.
Okay. Let me go back to the first question of the briefing. I know you said not a lot's changed since yesterday, and that it's a personal matter, but from a presidential perspective, is there any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No.
Again, you've also said several times that the president would not pardon or commute sentences for his son, Hunter. I just want to make sure that that is not going to change over the next 6 months. The president's saying he would not.
It's still a no. It's still a no.
It will always be a no.
It's still a no. It will be a no. It is a no, and I don't have anything else to add. Will he pardon his son? No.
You see, that's why it's important just to be upfront, just to be honest with the American people, because we all knew what you were going to do, Joe. We all knew it. We all knew you were going to pardon Hunter. So if you had just been honest, we wouldn't have to play all these clips of the press saying that, oh, he's not going to do it. The Karine Jean-Pierre saying he's not going to pardon Hunter. You just look worse, Joe. You just make yourself look worse. Yeah. Oh, there's so much more. This goes so much deeper. Okay, breaking 911. Holy smokes, Hunter Biden was given a sweeping pardon and is absolved of any alleged crimes from 2014 through 2024. Now, I thought what was funny is that the actual pardon states that it goes all the way to December 1st. So Hunter better be on his best behavior from December 1st all the way to the time that Trump takes office. Eric Trump weighing in, don't worry about the 112 subpoenas I've received over the past year. And he posted this picture, breaking, President Biden has signed a pardon for his son Hunter. I've watched my son being selectively and unfairly prosecuted. Really? Hunter, selectively and unfairly prosecuted? And what happened to President Trump over the past 3.5 years? How many unfair and fake prosecutions did that family endure? Biden a few months ago, I will not pardon Hunter. Biden today, I pardon Hunter. Yes, all Democrats do is lie.
As we sit here in Normandy, your son Hunter is on trial, and I know that you cannot speak about an ongoing federal prosecution. But let me ask you, will you accept the jury's outcome, their verdict, no matter what it is?
Yes.
And have you...
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. More lies directly from this White House. And this was totally bizarre. This was posted 12 hours ago by Libs of TikTok. Hunter Biden allegedly tried to pay $300,000 that he owed in rent with art made from his own feces. Yeah. Sean McGuire. So what happens to the $300K in back pay rent that Hunter owes my family from 2019 to 2020? Is that pardon now? Thanks, Joe. And then this person, Ben, says, wait, what? Yep, true story. Hunter was our tenant in Venice, California. Didn't pay rent for over a year. Tried to pay with art made from his own feces. I mean, I knew that Hunter was, an amazing painter. Doing like paint with his blow straws, right? The same ones that he would use for other things. But this adds a whole new layer. I had no idea that Hunter was painting with his own feces. Amazing talent from Hunter Biden. Disgraced former FBI agent Andrew McCabe is concerned that conspiracy theorists might arise from Hunter's pardon beginning in 2014. Oh, yeah. Well, of course, we're going to wonder what Biden Hunter was doing back then. But you're going to call them conspiracy theories to try to discredit any questioning, any investigation by the people.
Republicans are really seizing on the time frame here, right? Including the senator-elect from Indiana, Jim Banks, who said Joe Biden issued a pardon to Hunter Biden for any crimes that he might have committed since 2014. Why such a specific year? Well, Hunter Biden just so happened to join the board of Burisma, a Ukrainian energy firm, in that same year, 2014. So corrupt. What do you make of the time frame here?
Well, I mean, my initial impression was this is the president's desire to protect him for the longest period that reflects the president's time of service in the White House. But
yes, because he's covering his own ass.
Nevertheless, the effect of that very broad 10-year time frame is, ironically, it will perpetuate the conspiracy theories and the accusations around Hunter Biden. They'll never be resolved criminally, but it gives his detractors the opportunity to say, oh, well, he must have done something in 2014 to require a pardon going back that far.
I'm curious about a specific portion of the pardon, the text of what the president put out. He writes, quote, "The charges in Hunter's cases came about only after several of my political opponents in Congress instigated them to attack me and oppose my election. Then a carefully negotiated plea deal agreed to by the Department of Justice unraveled in the courtroom, with a number of my political opponents in Congress taking credit for bringing political pressure on the process. Had the plea deal held, it would have been a fair, reasonable resolution of Hunter's cases." Part of the reason it fell apart, though, had to do with a disagreement between Hunter's attorneys and the judge over whether other potential...
Okay, whatever. We're going to continue. There's a lot to get to in this segment here. A lot of reaction. CNN reports Biden was under mounting pressure from Jill. Yes, Dr. Jill.
Is supportive. Clearly, there was pressure inside the family. We were told really in recent weeks that Dr. Jill Biden, First Lady Jill Biden, was very supportive of the president doing something like this. The president was not sure, but we clearly have seen now he has come to this decision to pardon his son Hunter. Clearly.
Yeah, so Jill was on it. And apparently Elon Musk posting this 13 hours ago, pardon Hunter, and he's mocking Keith Olbermann. Keith Olbermann posted, pardon Hunter, great, now pardon everybody else, every prosecutor, every Biden administration staffer, every media figure, everybody Trump will persecute. 10 million pardons at least. Gunter Eagleman saying, are you admitting there's over 10 million criminals in D.C.? Do you ever think before you post? Yeah. All the worst people are mad about pardoning all the January 6ers. That's how you know it's the right thing to do. Even John Bolton says Biden is doing exactly the wrong thing by pardoning Hunter. This will now give Trump the license to pardon all the supporters, including those from January 6th. Now let's go back to 2018. We've got Adam Schiff, who actually introduced a bill to keep Trump from abusing pardon powers for his own family. Adam Schiff, old pencil neck.
So the president's pardon of Scooter Libby, Congressman, has inspired you to propose new legislation. What exactly would it do?
What it would do is say that in the event the president pardons anyone in an investigation in which the president is a witness, a subject, or the target, those investigative files will all be turned over to the Congress. The Congress ought to know whether the president is using the pardon power to obstruct justice. The American people have a right to know. I think it is clearly constitutional. It doesn't prohibit him from granting a pardon, even a pardon he shouldn't grant. But it does say that we will be able to at least find out whether the president is using this power to shield himself from liability.
Do you feel the same about it being applied to Joe Biden? Yeah, probably not. Here is, since Biden pardoned Hunter, it's going to be fun watching Trump pardon the January 6ers.
Many of them. Will you pardon the January 6 rioters who were convicted of federal offenses? I am inclined to pardon many of them. I can't say for every single one because a couple of them probably they got out of control. But, you know, when you look at Antifa, what they've done to Portland, and if you look at Antifa, look at what they've done to Minneapolis and so many other places. Look at what they did to Seattle and BLM. Many people were killed. These people, I'm not trying to justify anything, but you have two standards of justice in this country, and what they've done, and I love that question, because what they've done to so many people is nothing. And then what they've done to these people, they've persecuted these people. And yeah, my answer is I am most likely, if I get in, I will most likely, I would say it will be a large portion of them, you know. Will you pardon the January?
A large portion of them about to see pardons. Because Joe Biden has just basically opened the door. He's opened the door. General Flynn is like, just do it. Day one, start pardoning everybody, get the investigations going. Here's Fox News.
Deal.
Judge
I think we have
Janine.
to recognize if Joe Biden's complaining, it's his own Department of Justice who did him a solid with that initial fake deal that couldn't pass muster with a federal judge. And then, he ends up getting a real sweet deal in any event. So, and for those prosecutors who say they would never prosecute these kinds of cases, I wholeheartedly disagree. They do. You don't look at a federal statute and say, gee, they wrote the law, but, he's a good guy. He's not a good guy. He had the gun when he was showing himself off, unclothed, which that's a moral issue and not a legal one, but with the drugs and the hookers, which kind of adds to it. But more importantly, the idea that people don't go to prison for a tax evasion is kind of crazy. They do all the time. And finally, I think that, with this whole thing about the pardon, this pardon, remember, is before the sentence, before he served his term. And Americans need to understand that a lot of people get pardons after they've, served their time, paid their debt to society. That's very different from here. The guy doesn't even get sentenced. Nothing really happens. And it's like, okay. And I believe, by the way, there's no way he was going to not pardon his son.
See, this is a retroactive pardon going back to 2014, covering any crimes that may be uncovered by the Trump administration and the new FBI and the new Department of Justice. That's what they're terrified about. Okay? Washington Times, Biden's broken promise on pardoning his son Hunter is raising new questions about his legacy. Well, his legacy is complete garbage. At the same time, can you believe this? An apparent UFO was caught hovering above the Capitol this week, sparking concerns that extraterrestrials could soon plan a coup. What in the hell is going on? The viral snapshot shows 4 bright lights eerily stationed several feet above the Statue of Freedom. So we've got UFOs over Washington. We've got Hunter Biden being pardoned. I mean, what's next? A circus at the White House? Yeah, absolutely. Real America's Voice. I think it's disappointing. A president lied to the American people. Well, I mean, we are talking about the Biden administration, right?
Hypocrisy. Now, I want to go ahead and get your temperature. What was your initial reaction? You see the Twitter alert come across your phone. What was your first thought?
The height of hypocrisy. I mean, I cannot say it any other way than the fact that Joe Biden and frankly, the folks that I will call his enablers who kept him in the White House, even though he didn't need to be there, were out selling this idea that he wasn't going to pardon Hunter Biden. I mean, they said it repeatedly. They went on television. They did it from the presidential podium. They said it 1,000 times. But now, when he's in the waning hours of his presidency, he decides to pardon Hunter Biden. And I think it's disappointing. I think that's what most Americans are disappointed by and outraged by, is the fact that you've got a president that essentially lied to the American people, told us and stated it pretty clearly in an X post that no one is above the law. He should have put an asterisk by it and said, except for my son and any crimes that he could have committed during these last several years. Again, it is frustrating to the American people. That's why ultimately a lot of folks went to the polls this past November and voted for change. They voted for authenticity. They voted for somebody, a man who not only it was the 45th, but now the 47th president, who is going to tell the American people the truth. He's going to tell the hard truths. And he's also going to tell our foreign adversaries the hard truth. And we've seen that over the last week with some of his talk about tariffs. I mean, because of that, Mexico and Canada and their leadership are already trying to make amends. And that's the type of strong leadership we need going into this new year and for the next.
And that's why they're terrified of this. We also have this from The View. The clucks on The View. Biden's many lies about the Hunter pardon have forced Democrat media sycophants into attempts to redefine what a lie is. Yes, they love to change the definition of words.
Doesn't know him personally. Two things, because I have
I respect it as a parent. I understand why he would do it. Yeah. But I wonder to understand why lie about it for so long.
I'd stop calling it a lie.
Okay, why repeatedly say you're not going to and you do? And secondarily, for the part of this country, half of it that doesn't support Biden, doesn't know him personally, doesn't get to have phone calls, and they're just looking at a system that seems like it only benefits the people who are in power.
I'm going to say,
what precedent does that set?
Well, here's what it says. It's a precedent for all of us to open our eyes because we've elected someone who is in a similar situation, who didn't have a drug problem, who knew what he was doing. Oh, really? Who clearly stood and said, I can do this. And he did it. So I think, for many, many reasons, this is very different than any other situation that we have ever dealt with.
Oh, please, Whoopi, spare us. Spare us. And of course, we have this. We played this a couple days ago. Biden just released a statement announcing the pardon of Hunter Biden. It says Hunter's been sober for 5.5 years, but footage of him at Disney is rather creepy. I mean, look at this video. Like, what's going on, man? This guy's on something. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's like he's on a trip or something. Or maybe he's just looking for recruits. You never know, right? What else have we got here in this segment? We've got the news alert. We've got the deep state freaking out. Jill Biden. Yeah. Adam Schiff, though. What a dirtbag. But, I mean, I did not expect this to come out, that Hunter Biden was using his own feces for a painting medium. But it doesn't surprise me. Doesn't surprise me one bit. So we're going to have to wait and see how this all pans out. But as it stands, here he was last year.
Republicans, for 6 years, MAGA Republicans, including members of the House committees who are in a closed-door session right now, have impugned my character, invaded my privacy, attacked my wife.
Well, actually, dude, you left your laptop at a repair shop because you were too stoned to go pick it up, and it contained incriminating evidence that had to be handed over to the FBI. Okay, so this is all you're doing, Hunter.
My children, my family, and my friends. They've ridiculed my struggle with addiction. They've belittled my recovery. And they have tried to dehumanize me, all to embarrass and damage my father, who has devoted his entire public life to service.
You mean corruption. That's what he meant to say. Here is Steve Gruber weighing in.
Trump takes over. Joe Biden just pardoned his son Hunter, a complete bullshit move. 49 days to go until Donald Trump takes over. But what does it tell you? It tells you this. Kamala Harris is going to be the next president of the United States. He's getting out of the way. He wouldn't do this 49 days in advance. Kamala Harris is going to be president. Donald Trump will be the 48th president.
What?
Mark my words.
Mark my words. He actually believes. What? He thinks that, okay, I've heard this. People have floated this, but him posting that a day ago, that he's going to resign and he's going to put Kamala in charge. I don't think so. So yeah, let's mark his words and check back in a few weeks. I don't think that's going to happen at all. Here is Kaylee McEnany.
She's sitting in a jail pardon about every parent understanding a father wanting to pardon a son. I understand that. I don't understand the lying. I don't understand how the Merrick Garland DOJ raids Melania's closet and then Biden's White House pardons his son. there seems to be a huge disparity there. I think when you look back on this, when history looks back on this, you're going to see a legacy of injustice. It was not just the raid on Mar-a-Lago that happened under Garland, the prosecutions of Donald Trump. It was also the radical Catholic memo from the FBI. It was Paulette Harlow, 76-year-old. Look, I can't get her face out of my mind. She's sitting in a jail right now, 2-year sentence for being in front of an abortion clinic, standing there peacefully. Her husband's devastated, thinks she's going to die in jail, but Hunter Biden gets a pardon. A lot of people don't understand the disparity, and that legacy of injustice is going to sear into the minds of people, not just the feelings of a father to a son, which every parent can understand.
President Trump sort of knew this was coming, right? Bill Malugin asked him about this. Watch here.
You've talked about wanting to unify the country if you're elected. If you are president again, in the name of unity, would you consider pardoning Hunter Biden?
Well, I wouldn't do anything that would be overt in terms of Hunter. It's a sad situation. And I'll bet you the father probably pardons him. Let's see what happens. But he's a bad boy.
So he anticipated it would happen. But Andy, what about the fact that Biden just insisted, and through his spokesperson insisted, that no one was above the law? They said over and over again. And frankly, unfortunately for them, I don't think anybody actually believed them anyway.
Yeah, well, this goes to what Kayleigh was talking about. I think I certainly as a father could understand that you would, if you had the power to spare your son imprisonment. If were my sons, I would have spared them prosecution in the first place, which he could have done. But I think that goes to the mendacious political calculations that went into this. As Kayleigh said, anybody could have understood if Biden had just looked America in the eye and said, look, this is my son.
Yep.
I know it's abusive, but I'm going to pardon him.
Yep.
They would have understood that a lot better than the series of lies. But the series of lies were driven by the election calendar. They wouldn't do the pardon prior to the election because they realized that the electorate would have went nuts over it. So they lied about it again and again. I think you're right that nobody really believed them. Certainly nobody who looked at the choices that Hunter and his lawyers made during these cases. They had to know they were getting a pardon. I don't think anybody
Andy,
believed it.
Yeah. If you look at the president's statement, he says two things. He says no one is brought to trial for filling out a gun form improperly. I'm paraphrasing the words there. He's also making the case that if you pay back taxes, there's no penalty. The penalty for prison comes off of that. Are those two statements true?
So if I rob a bank but I bring the money back, that's okay now? You know, I mean, it's idiotic. As far as the gun case is concerned, that was not a what they call a lie and try case where you fill out the form but you don't get the gun because they find out that there's a problem. He actually got the gun. Those cases get brought all the time. And as for a tax violation, it's just like the bank robbery. It's a little bit of a drastic example, but I think it makes the point. Paying back the money that you owe doesn't mean that you didn't commit the crime. It's not a defense. So
Wow. Yeah, they're all echoing exactly what I'm saying. Oh boy. Okay, we got a couple clips here. Let's see if Hunter's pardon is 1,000% about covering up deep state criminality in Ukraine. Hunter was the deep state proxy that helped secure and wash funding for deep state racketeering in Ukraine, including the Biolab network starting in 2014. Everything leads back to Ukraine. And here is the chart, U.S. coordination of Biolab and research institutes in Ukraine. All tracks back.
Department of Justice policy. I'm sure he's trying to ascertain what's the right thing to do, consistent with Department of Justice policy and tradition. And these are the kind of the kerfuffles that blow up every so often in D.C. Now it's ensnared the FBI. It'll pass.
Your son Hunter, your brother Jim.
The public's not going to pay attention to that. They want these guys to do something. If the only thing they can do is make up things about my family, it's not going to go very far.
No, we're not making up things about your family, okay? We all saw the
multiple points of danger within the Justice Department if there's another Trump presidency, given his nature, given what you know about him. He is a threat
to the rule of law in America. To me, that's what this election is about. Not about policy differences. It's about what kind of country are we going to be. If he has the ability, smarter than he was last time, to use the power of the Department of Justice and the FBI to target his enemies especially, the rule of law in America will change in a way we haven't seen in our lifetime.
And that's why it goes back to 2014. Because there is so much criminality that Trump can go back and investigate and prosecute that they had to give him a blanket pardon.
Target his enemies. How would he do that?
Well, I think the first thing he would do is he would express it in his first term as a wish. I want people to go after so-and-so. I want people to go after Andrew McCabe, the former deputy director of the FBI.
Sure.
In his second term, he would go a step further, I'm highly confident, and say, I want him criminally investigated. And he was close to the bottom of the barrel in his appointees last time. He'll be at the very bottom. And those are the people who carry out.
Oh, they're terrified. They are absolutely terrified. All of these deep state swamp creatures are freaking out.
Judicial Watch protected Trump and our republic from the worst corruption scandal in American history by exposing the FISA abuse, the Comey corruption, and the seditious conspiracy against Trump by the FBI and DOJ. Obama knew, Clinton knew, Comey knew, Biden knew, Brennan knew, McCabe knew, Strzok knew, Clapper knew, Schiff knew, the FBI knew, the DOJ knew, the CIA knew, the State Department knew. They all knew Trump was innocent, but they smeared and spied on him anyway. Worse than Watergate. Trump is a crime victim. Let's remember that. Judicial Watch.
So just watch and see who else gets a pardon following this. Oh my goodness. It is going to tell a big story. Here's David Pakman. He is a radical leftist YouTuber. I barely pay attention to him. But this tweet fell into my X feed today. David Pakman claimed Joe Biden cares about democracy and the rule of law too much to pardon Hunter.
Since Joe Biden, radical and repugnant reactionary Congresswoman Lauren Boebert tweeting out some very, very hard stuff, saying, quote, Hunter Biden was proven guilty. How long until dear old dad gets involved and fixes this all up for him? Mm-hmm. These are extraordinarily stiff allegations coming from Lauren Boebert, particularly since Joe Biden said himself just days ago, he's not going to get involved. He's going to respect the decision of the jury. He's not going to be pardoning his son, Hunter Biden. Take a look at this. He is on the record saying it.
Where is David Pakman today? Yep, probably washing his shorts. David Harris Jr. posting this. Nothing to see here, just a compilation of Biden's press secretary repeatedly claiming that Joe wouldn't pardon Hunter. And then we have this on the Clay Travis and Buck Sexton show 8 hours ago. This pardon is not just for Hunter. It's a pardon for Joe himself. Listen.
Precedented. This pardon is not just about Hunter. It's a pardon for Joe himself because there's no other reason to go back 11 years. That is unprecedented in history. Nobody has ever given such an all-round, far-reaching pardon. Not even Nixon got one this long. 11 years. You know, it's not 10 years. It's curious that it's 11. And why is that? So I look back at the timeline that I wrote up for the books. That's 2014. So February 2014 was the Maidan Revolution. April of 2014, you have the Biden family swooping in and making the most of that very corrupt and war-torn country. And Hunter gets the $1 million a year gig on the board of this corrupt energy company, Burisma, the most corrupt company in Ukraine, which is saying something because it's the most corrupt country in Europe. This pardon is
What does that tell you? What does that tell you? Oh, yes. Here's liberal Joe Walsh slamming Joe for pardoning Hunter. What? Let's see.
Walsh, welcome, Congressman Walsh. What do you make of all of this? What is likely to be the response on Capitol Hill to this breaking news?
And Joe Walsh, used to be a Republican, I can't stand him now. He's from my home state too. Dirtbag.
Good to be with you. See, I told you so. They're all like that. So the next time any of us complain about anything Trump does, this pardon is just deflating. For those of us who have been out there for a few years now yelling about what a unique threat Donald Trump is, for Joe Biden to do something like this, Trump, nobody's above the law, we've been screaming. Well, Joe Biden just made clear his son Hunter is above the law. Donald Trump lies every time he opens his mouth, we've been screaming. Joe Biden repeatedly lied about this. The politicization of the justice system, Donald Trump and his people have been screaming. Well, that's exactly what Biden said here.
Joe, is this a politics of purity? I mean, we had Donald Trump pardon Sheriff Joe Arpaio during his term, and there wasn't a lot of hue and cry about that. I mean, this is a father who saw his first wife killed, his daughter killed in a car crash, his two young sons survive. One goes on to have real difficulties with addiction. Another dies because of cancer. This is a family that's really troubled. I mean, yes, he said he wasn't going to do this, but did anyone ever believe that that was the case? I mean, I would have put good money on this happening. Like, are many people going to be surprised that a father who's also the president would do this for his son?
I don't know that people will be surprised, because you're right. Joe Biden repeatedly said he wouldn't do this. So he repeatedly lied. But this just furthers the cynicism that people have about politics. And that cynicism strengthens Trump, because Trump can just say, I'm not a unique threat. Everybody does this. If I do something for my kid, my son-in-law, whatever, look, Joe Biden does the same thing. I get it, but this was a selfish move by Biden, which politically only strengthens Trump. It's just...
Oh, they are just melting down all over. Scott Jennings on CNN torching Joe Biden.
Joe Biden is leaving office making the strongest possible case for Donald Trump that anybody could possibly make it, and that's that our government and our justice system is of, by, and for the elites and nobody else. He ran to banish Trumpism from our political system in this country, and he has left it politically and now institutionally the strongest possible political force in this country. It is a complete and utter failure by the head of the Democratic Party and the President of the United States. Never again do I want to hear, oh, Donald Trump's a liar. You can't believe anything he says. Donald Trump will abuse his power. Donald Trump will only use the system to benefit himself and his family and so on and so forth. Never again. I have one question for Karen. And that is, why did he need an 11-year blanket pardon going back to 2014 when Joe Biden was the vice president? We are sitting on the biggest cover-up of who knows what crimes. And Joe Biden, amazingly, knows exactly, roughly, when it started. He knows just about when it all started. He's leaving office in complete and total disgrace. He is a liar. And there is no other way to spin this today. This has nothing to do with Trump and everything to do with the character of Joe Biden. You guys can spend all day long trying to spin this, that this is Donald Trump's fault, that this is somehow caused by Donald Trump. Oh, he's appointing the wrong people. Oh, he did it. Oh, this is the worst possible thing a president could possibly do to his party and to the country, to sit for a year and say, I will not do this. I will not do this. The rule of law is sacred. We have to respect the justice system. Juries, we have to respect juries. We have to respect the guardrails and the norms of our democracy. Wow. These people are liars. Inflation is transitory. Afghanistan, it's a success. The border is secure. Robert Hur is a liar. The videos are cheap fakes. Biden has a cold. He'll never drop out. Oh, I'll never pardon Hunter. It's all a lie. It is all a grift. Every American, except the most partisan, brain-rotted people, are going to be outraged by this today. He is going to leave off. You think 38, 39% job approval is bad? Just you wait. Just you wait. He's disgraced today. Outrageous.
But Scott, you don't need to hurl names and say people like me are brain rotted. Come on, that's a little beyond the pale, even for you, Scott.
Listen,
I disagree. We can disagree about
You don't have to defend this. He's leaving office. You don't have to defend it. You don't have to die on this hill. You can say this is wrong because everybody knows that it is. It's wrong. Are you fine with the lying? Are you fine with him sitting before the election all year and lying to the American people? Are you fine with the lying about it?
I don't think that he was lying. I think he made a decision after the fact and decided this was the right thing for him and for his family. Period. Full stop. Donald Trump decided that it was okay to pardon
Joe Biden, Karine Jean-Pierre. How many minutes of tape do we have of both of these people telling the American people this will not happen? It's I mean, we could play it all morning. It's a lie, and it's a lie to benefit his own family, and that's all that it is. And everybody who went on TV and said, oh, look how he's the modern George Washington. He's drained every ounce of credibility from every surrogate. If Karine Jean-Pierre had an ounce of self-respect, she'd get off the plane in Africa today where they're going so he can avoid the press and resign. He's drained all of her credibility, and everybody else who's defended this, it's draining for them forever.
Oh, wow. Here's Jill Biden. And this is at the White House, and they set up a whole, they do the Christmas thing every year, and it looks like a freaking circus sideshow. And she was asked about this. Of course, here's her answer.
All right, thanks for coming, guys. Dr. Biden, do you support the pardon of Hunter?
Pardon of Hunter, Dr. Biden. Dr. Biden, what stands on the pardon of Hunter?
Of course, I support the pardon of my son. That's what she said into the microphone at the Christmas sideshow. But let's just take one quick look here. This is 30 seconds.
The briefing. I know you. Second one, would the president pardon or commute his son if he's convicted?
So I've answered this question before. It was asked of me not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago, and I was very clear, and I said no.
Okay. Let me go back to the first question of the briefing.
Zero credibility. Zero. Gone.
I know you said not a lot's changed since yesterday and that it's a personal matter, but from a presidential perspective, is there any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No.
You've also said several times that the president would not pardon or commute the sentence for his son, Hunter. I just want to make sure that that is not going to change over the next 6 months. The president's saying he would not.
It's still a no. It's still a no.
It will always be a no.
It's still a no. It will be a no. It is a no, and I don't have anything else to add. Will he pardon his son? No.
Oh, this is the legacy, friends. They could have just avoided all this. This nasty brown stain on the Biden administration that just, along with all the other brown stains from Hunter Biden painting with his own feces, if he was just straightforward and honest, yeah, I'm going to pardon my son. We would have all accepted it. We would have all just expected it. But now you have this serious case of denial as Jennings just presented on CNN. The brain rot. That woman's like, well, I wouldn't say it was lying. Whoopi Goldberg going, well, maybe we should redefine the term lie. Like, there's no way you can talk your way out of this. There's no amount of spin that you can put on this to make it truthful. Okay? We were lied to repeatedly. And, okay, again, this is small. This is a small situation. This is a small case, small problem. We got bigger problems. We're facing down World War III right now. And this is what we're talking about. There are so many other crimes from the Biden administration. But this, I think, perfectly encapsulates the corruption and lying of politicians. This is textbook. People are going to write about this for decades. And we will always be able to point back to every moment where he said, I'm not going to pardon, I'm not going to pardon. Every moment that Karine Jean-Pierre said, no, he's not going to do it, no, he's not going to do it. And then boom, he does it. Again, I would have been perfectly understanding if he would have just been forthright with the American people. Everybody would have just been, yeah, we get it. But no, they lied to you, they lied to me, they lied to the entirety of America. For what? It's a freaking joke. 100%. So the Hunter Biden pardon isn't just a story about a father protecting his son. It's a reminder that we are living in two Americas. One for the corrupt elites and one for patriots like you and me. But in 49 days, that all changes. Trump's return to the White House is not just an inauguration. It is the beginning of accountability. So here's what I want you to think about tonight. Drop a comment. If Joe Biden is willing to so blatantly abuse his pardon power to protect his family, what else might he do in his final days in office? Some people are saying he's gonna resign and put Kamala up in front. I don't think so. But what other pardons are coming? I gave you a list. What other evidence might just happen to disappear? And while you ponder that, don't forget to grab your exclusive Mag Avengers gear at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Show the world you stand with truth. Drop your thoughts in the comments. So who else do you think Biden will try to pardon before January 20th?